Hello friends, this is Brian Amick and welcome to episode 14 of Project 39. Today's guest is Ray Black. Ray's pretty well known in the community through his work at the Boys and Girls Club, years spent coaching, and he's also a member of the Madison City Council. But today we're here to talk about a different aspect of Ray's life. Ray, if you're okay with it, I'd like to talk about your health issues you've been having. Is that all right?
That would be good.
All right. Well, first of all, I appreciate you coming in and joining us today. Welcome me into your place here to sit down and record this. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day and your willingness to talk about this. So, let's just get into it.
Well, glad to do it, Brian. One thing, I'm on the county council, Jefferson County Council.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So no problem. I don't want Mayor Courtney upset with me.
Horn in there too.
Yeah.
No.
But yes, what I'd like to do is talk about what first happened and struggles I went through with IPF and it's idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, and what that is hardening of your lungs. They quit working, and usually it's a 1 to 5 year life expectancy. Wow. And Dr. Gupta from over at University of Cincinnati was the one that found out that I was in my fourth year, my last year of IPF.
So you weren't aware?
No.
For 4 years you had it and you weren't even aware?
No. The doctors at another hospital, I won't say which one, but they had misdiagnosed me, the pulmonologist for that hospital, and he just thought it was some tumors that had developed on my lungs. Some doctors had diagnosed it as COPD, but it was not diagnosed until September of 2020.
Okay.
So that all started, my oldest daughter, Rami, went with me to the doctors, and they had all the test results, and Dr. Gupta came in and said...
now, Rami knows a little bit about this already, right?
Yeah, Rami's a PA and physician's assistant, and she works at the emergency room over at St. Elizabeth Hospital. And she's a pretty good medical person to have in your corner.
Yeah.
So
I can see why you took her with you.
Yeah, so when he told me I had IPF, I'm kind of looking around and trying to figure out what IPF was, and then they explained it. And then when he said, your father's in his last year of life, I felt like I got hit upside the head with a sandbag. And then Rami said, well, what do we have to get him on to do to get him on the transplant list? And now I'm really dazed. I'm about ready to fall out of my chair.
So you're just sitting, this all hits you within a matter of...
Just a matter of moments, literally.
Wow.
And then she goes, what does he have to do to get a double lung transplant? Then I'm just going, oh my gosh, I'm dead, And Dr. Gupta said, well, your father's too heavy. I was weighing about 278 pounds at that time. And it was, she goes, well, Dad can lose the weight. He's an old wrestling coach. And I'm going, who are you talking about? So anyway, that started our journey. My oxygen levels, it was increasing that I need more and more oxygen every week. And then November came, and about the second week of November, I got hit with COVID and pneumonia.
Wow.
And that on top of IPF was like driving a stake into my heart. It was tough. And I eventually ended up over at University of Cincinnati. And Dr. Gupta and a group of doctors, I was in there for a week. And my thing was that through my research, after we started researching IPF, was that if you get on vent, you're not coming off the vent for IPF patients. So they came into me on day 3 and 4 and said, Mr. Black, you need to be on a vent. And I said, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, you're not going to make it. And I said, I'm going to give you 7 days, and if I'm not any better in 7 days, I'll go home to die with my family and in my house. Yeah. And they then called Vicki, my wife, and tried to talk her into it, putting me on a vent. She said, whatever Ray decides, it's his call. And then they called Ramey and Coco, tried to talk them into persuading me. And both of them told them the same thing. It's Dad's call. Yeah. So they come back to me on day 4 and said, we need to vent you. I said, nope. I said, now I'm upset. I'm going to leave. You got two or three more days, and I'm leaving. So they said, you need to be here at least 10 to 14 days. And I said, that's not going to happen. So on 2 days before Thanksgiving, Coco come and got us and drove me and Vicki back home. And I struggled. I was on oxygen. When I left there, I was on about 40 liters of oxygen from 2 different tanks. Wow. We couldn't get enough off of one tank. We had to go to a second one. And then it was, just trying to breathe. Somebody once asked me what it was like to breathe with IPF. And I said, well, imagine an elephant sitting on your chest, and you've got wet cheesecloth across your face, and you're trying to breathe. Yeah. It's just almost impossible. So, and Madison and Jefferson County seems to have a very high rate of IPF.
Really?
I'm not going to name names, but there's been several. There's several now that are going through it and battling, and there's at least one that just recently had a lung transplant. She had a single lung, and the rate seems unusually high in this area.
Yeah,
so
everybody seems to have allergy issues and everything in this area. My younger daughter, she's visiting right now. She lives in California, and she said she can definitely tell as soon as she got back home.
Right.
You don't realize it till you get back here how bad it was. So okay.
So anyway, we started losing. Well, I didn't really start losing the weight until I was going to pulmonary rehab 2 days a week.
Okay.
And we was trying to lose a little weight, but we weren't really working out real hard because I'd kind of resigned myself that it was probably time to pass, and we started making funeral arrangements and cemetery arrangements, and just the whole 9 yards. I wrote Vicki and my 3 children, my 2 grandchildren, love letters that they would read after I'd passed, and I had my pallbearers picked out, and the whole 9 yards. Stuff that you don't want to think about, but we probably need to. And so my daughter Ramey came over one day and said, Dad said, your grandbabies have lost one pawpaw. So they don't want to lose the other one. You need to get busy and lose the weight, get as strong as you can, and, be here for them so that you can go to their sports activities. You can see them go to the prom. You can see them graduate high school. All those things that are going to be milestones for them. I think it was at that point I decided, the other thing she said that was something I always told my wrestlers and my softball players, and she'd been a manager for the wrestling team for 4 years, and maybe longer if you count helping out in junior high and all the Club Madison stuff she helped out with. And she played softball for me. So multiple times she said, we never, ever give up. Mm-hmm. And she said, you're a phony if you don't get busy.
She called you out, didn't she?
Yeah, she called me out. Yeah. And So at that point, I got serious on trying to lose the weight. Medicare paid for 2 days of pulmonary exercise, but Vicki and I started paying for the other 3 days, and I started going 5 days a week instead of 2.
Wow.
And then I started working real hard on losing the weight, and in about 4 months, I lost 70 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And it was just from what you got to do to, get your weight off.
Right, yeah.
And
That's quite a motivator.
Yeah. So,
but even losing the weight, though, that's no guarantee that
No.
you're going to get the
you're going to get in the
transplant.
program. Yeah. They had to run a whole series of tests. I would say at least 150 different tests were ran, and they want to make sure you have no cancer yourself or any other ailments. Kidney functions need to be at a certain level, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And the thing that they probed you, they took blood. That's taking blood all the time. We were driving back and forth to Columbus, Ohio, because we checked out 3 different transplant centers. One was in Louisville, one was at Cleveland Clinic, and one was Ohio State University. And when we got checking it out, Ohio State University for lung transplants is probably the most successful hospital in this area.
Okay.
And they're even higher rated than Cleveland Clinic.
Wow.
So we went there, and it felt like home. I mean, Vicki and I felt comfortable. All the staff, all the medical team, they were just really good. No matter how bad they punished you.
Yeah. You felt like they were doing it for your benefit.
Yeah,
Right?
you took it, and smiled.
Yeah.
So anyway, we went through that. What I really want to get into at this point is God.
Okay.
God must have had to connect 1 million points to make this work.
Okay.
We're going to talk, we're not going to have time to talk about the whole ordeal, but
Right.
We'll hit some of the highlights. One, when we finally got on the list, just getting on the list had to be God's plan. I started to feel like he was had another purpose for me or a reason for me to still be here. So that's the reason. That was another reason. Not only my grandchildren, my wife, my children. God kind of give me that impetus to work harder. So I started working harder. We started getting all the tests done. August rolls around, August the 11th, and we're meeting with the surgeon. And
So you found out September 2020.
Yes.
So now we're up to August of 21.
Yes.
So we're almost a year later.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And
you'd been kind of given a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my points are you get points. The way I understand it, you get points for being a good chance to survive. They don't want to waste their organ that they donate, that they put into your body. So they have you, they want you in the best physical shape you can be in. They want you not to have any other ailments that would shorten your life. They want not only to get into your lung, or get lungs into you, but for it to stay in there for years, not just 6 days or a year. They want multiple years. So they're looking for those type of candidates. So you get extra points if you're the better shape you're in. You also get extra points, and this is the unique thing. The closer to death they think you are, the point level goes up. Your total points go up.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that my points is what got me on the list as quick as it did, but we didn't get on as quick as we wanted.
Yeah.
We were on, met with the doctor. I asked him, Doc, I said, he explained cutting me open and the lung transplant process, and I would say he probably spent about a half hour explaining it. He did a very thorough job, Dr. Whitson, and excellent surgeon from everybody I've ever talked to. And he says, "Okay, do you have any questions for me?" And I said, "Yes, Doc, I do." I said, "I got two." I said, "The first one is, how long are you usually in the hospital after the transplant?" And he said, "Oh, it varies, 2 to 6 weeks." He said 21 days about the average, and but he says, "I got one guy that hasn't done what he's supposed to, didn't get up and walk. He's been here for 6 months now. I just don't think he's going to make it." But see, they also do psychological testing on you and ask you a group of questions, and I knew that, So he said, "What's your second question?" I said, "My second question is, what's the quickest anyone's ever gotten out of the hospital after a double lung transplant?" And he said, "Well, 7 days is my record," and I wrote a medical paper on that gentleman, and I immediately said, and this wasn't being cocky, it was because I felt like God had my back. And I said, "I'll do it in 6. And he kind of smiled, and he kind of rolled his eyes back.
We'll see.
Yeah. And he says, "Okay, we'll see. I hope you do."
Yeah.
But,
You got the talking done, right?
Yeah. So I was talking the talk, and then I had to walk the walk. So again, we're talking about all the dots. So he gave me a thumbs up on that, and all the doctors we met with on the 11th said, "You're, thumbs up. We're going to be good to go." And so the 13th, Friday the 13th, there a group of doctors get together and they look at all the records and medical reports and X-rays. And not all of them are on that same team. They're on a different team. Some of them are. You have your team there. My team was advocating for me he's ready to go. And one of the doctors from one of the other teams said, "I don't like what I see in this right lung. I want further tests done." And so 9 o'clock, they have that meeting on Friday. Well, they start making calls as soon as they come out of the meeting. Sometimes it's 10 minutes after 9.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get a phone call till 4 in the afternoon. And it was very devastating that not necessarily for me, because I felt like I could deal with it one way or the other. But Vicki was, she was really emotional and tore up about not getting on.
Yeah.
So I just tried to avoid her while she was having her meltdown. But we had been through a lot, and I can understand the meltdown. But I just kind of tried to stay even-keeled. And so I said, "So what do we have to do?" And they said, "Well, you're going to have to get these tests done." And I said, they think there might be cancer in your right lung. So I said, "Okay, well, we've done a lot of tests, and it should have showed up by now." But I said, "I'll go do more. When can I get in?" I couldn't get into OSU until November.
Oh, good grief.
And I said, "Well, I'll probably be dead by then." So they said, "Well, you're welcome to look anyplace else as long as they'll run these tests." So Ramey, Dr. Gupta, my pulmonologist over at UC, Dr. Voorhees here in Madison, and even myself, we started calling around. I think it was Ramey and that found over at Westchester, Ohio. We found they could get me in and do tests on Thursday.
Oh, wow.
So I drove that Thursday, and we got the test, and actually a friend drove me. And we got the test done. I said, "Please, you got to send it to them. They got to have it before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." They said, "Oh, Mr. Black, we can't do it that quick." And I said, "Oh, please, it's life and death for me." So they got them sent over, but not in time.
Yeah.
And so we didn't go in front of that board until the 28th. So, 27th, whatever that Friday is.
Yeah.
And we got the call at 9:10. You're on the list.
Okay.
So they told us, make sure you pack your bags. Okay. So 53 hours later, I got the call on Sunday afternoon about 2 o'clock, a little after 2. And they said, are you ready for 2 new lungs? Are you ready to come here?
So you have no idea. I mean, this could be
No.
weeks, but it ended up it was days.
Yeah.
Wow.
It could be months.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had friends with the state police, and they had worked it out with the supervisors and with the state police to escort us over. Well, when they come down, we found out it was more than an escort. They actually took us. So kudos to Indiana State Police, Adam Bullock, Chris Hill.
Yeah.
They had turned a 3-hour drive and did it safely into a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So that was, I just called it the ride. I mean, it was unbelievable, the professionalism and the way that they were able to pull that off.
Yeah.
But again, God connecting points is what made it all come together like it did.
Right.
And I'm now talking to the family of the gentleman that we got the lungs from.
Okay.
And the interesting thing is during this journey of ours, only a man you can only use a man's lungs if you're a man.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And if you're a woman, you can only use women's.
Is that just because
of the size? Yes,
Okay.
and the chest cavity and all that. So it's crucial that you match up with, blood type. Everybody just thinks it's blood type,
Right.
but there's chest size. There's so many things.
Okay.
So Doug was my donor, and
And where was he from?
he is from Fort Worth, Texas.
Okay.
So there's another God point right there, God miracle.
Yeah.
Usually it's a 500-mile radius. They start in, and then they start branching out. Well, my match was in Fort Worth, Texas. Not only was he my match, but he donated multiple organs to multiple people.
Yeah.
So the lungs are the last thing to be harvested because you got to keep the other organs alive.
Okay. Yeah.
So Doug saved my life with my lungs. He saved another man's life with his heart.
Wow.
He saved 2 people's lives with kidneys by donating 2 kidneys.
Wow.
He saved at least 1 with the liver.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. They can actually
Yeah. They can.
dissect that or bisect it and go from there. Then the pancreas, skin tissue, and his eyes.
Wow.
So he helped somebody see
Affect
again.
a lot of lives.
Yeah. So my understanding is with the family that we were the first donor to write the thank you letter. And in this apartment in November, we'll have Doug's mother and probably sister up here. And we're looking forward to their visit. So
That's gonna be incredible.
yeah. And with that, the big thing is when I hug them and they hug me, they're going to feel Doug's breath on their cheek. So I can't tell you how excited they are and how they're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So he had a girlfriend. They actually call each other soulmates. And I've been talking to her. And again, God works in, I don't say it's mysterious ways. I think God just works his miracles. And all of the connections we've had to go through and the testing we had to go through, hopefully I can earn Doug's legacy and mine.
Yeah.
And that we make it worthwhile for God.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, that someone does that, and that you're fortunate enough to be able to be in contact with his family. That's amazing. So.
Yeah, it's such a blessing.
Yeah.
So part of my regime is I take about 30 to 35 pills a day.
Wow.
Some in the morning, some at night. I take them at 9 in the morning, 9 at night.
Okay.
And it varies because every Monday I go and have a blood draw. And they do tests on it. They decide exactly which medicines I should have and how much. So every week or every 2 weeks, my doses
Your drug regimen's changing.
changes. Yeah.
Wow.
So we have to keep up with that.
That's a job right there.
One of the tough things for me is now the blood draws every Monday. When I was there, I ended up the first day after surgery. I woke up about 10:30, and I told the nurse, asked how I was feeling, did all that. She said, and I looked over the side of my bed. I had 7 big plastic. They looked like rectangular boxes, but they were bigger than a milk jug. They was they probably hold about 2.5 gallons.
Yeah.
And on my chest was 7 tubes draining my chest.
Oh, good grief.
So, and when they take those out, that's a unique feeling. I'll tell you that. But she goes, "There's no way I can drain, or I can get these and get you walking." Because I said, "I want to go for a walk." And she goes, "You're not walking today." I said, "Yes, I am." And she goes, "I don't think so." I said, "Well, you check with Dr. Whitson and tell him I want to walk." So she came back about 2:30, and she said, "He said you can walk. I don't know how we're going to do it. I got to figure it out." And I said, "You got one of those big fat walkers?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "You got any athletic tape?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, do you think you can get that for me, and I'll tell you what to do." And she goes, "All right." So in she come at about 4:30. She came in with the big, I call it the big butt walker.
Yeah.
And she said, "Okay." She said, "What do you want me to do?" I said, "Put those 2 that way, put the other 2 this way, put 1 there, and then stick 2 of them underneath on the little carrier." And she goes, "Okay." She goes, "They're going to fall off." I said, "That's what the athletic tape for. Just start running around."
Yeah.
And she did. I had 2 IVs and 1 in each arm.
Yeah.
I had a port. And so they had me on oxygen because they tell you that you're good to breathe, but most people don't believe it because a lot of them, like myself, have been on oxygen for about a year.
Yeah.
So a little bit over a year I'd been on oxygen. Well, you get used to hose and stepping on it and pulling it out and all that stuff. So I realized pretty quickly that there was no oxygen coming out, very little. So, but that first trip we had the oxygen with us too.
Yeah.
And I walked a quarter mile at 4:30.
The day
of surgery. Same day as the surgery.
Wow.
And then the second day I walked a mile.
Incredible.
The third day I walked 2 miles. And by the third day in the evening I was walking pretty much by myself.
Were you still draining at that time?
Yes, I had still had two or three drain buckets with me.
Wow.
And but I was setting it up, and you know they'd actually wouldn't let me lift them, but they'd come in and put it up, and I'd tape it, and then on the fourth day I walked 4 miles, and on the 5th day I was released. So Vicky nicknamed me 5-Day Ray.
So the previous best that the doctor had experienced was someone getting out in 7 days.
7 days.
You made 5.
5.
Wow.
And we had to live up there because you have so many tests. Yeah. So we lived up there for another 7 weeks. Mm-hmm. And we rented an apartment. I mean, special thanks to all the people that donated to our GoFundMe page. Yeah. My daughter set that up, and it was a lot of former wrestlers, former Boys and Girls Club kids, just friends that helped out. And I can't tell you how much again, there's another God thing. I mean, the prayers that went out for me must have been in the thousands of people that prayed for me not only around this area, but around the world, because my son and daughter-in-law lived in Hong Kong for 8 years, lived in Sri Lanka for a year. They put their life on hold and came here and lived in this apartment.
Okay.
And then Coco, my youngest daughter, 2 days after I was diagnosed, moved up here to Madison from Atlanta and worked remotely until I got home from a double lung transplant. And then Ramey, of course, made multiple trips, working her job, raising two children, being a wife. She made multiple trips up to Columbus, Ohio, and back and forth to here.
Wow.
So again,
you had quite a team.
I tell you, my team, I'd match them up against anybody. I mean,
that's awesome.
What family love.
You mentioned you want to talk about God, right?
Yes.
So what was the state of your faith before this?
Well, I've heard it said, and many times I've thought of it, and there's no atheist in foxholes. And even though I was not having enemies firing at me, my enemy was IPF.
Yeah.
And I was in a foxhole. And my faith had wavered. I was saved at 12 years of age, but I had not been a very good Christian through that time. And we were away from a church for a while, and a friend said, your children need to be raised in a church, so that they got that option. We started going to church when the kids were younger. And my faith was nothing compared to my Grandma Mabel, my mom, and my wife. I had faith when it was convenient to have faith, you know?
Yeah.
And having faith and really meaning it is a totally different thing than when you want it. I've had different situations in our family and our life that have been tough, and we've lost some great members of our family.
Right.
And I always had faith and sent prayers up when it was convenient for me.
Right.
Now I pray multiple times a day.
Yeah.
My faith, like I said, Vicki, my mom, and my grandma, they can move mountains with their faith.
Yeah.
But when I said I'll get out in 6, it was not being arrogant. It was not being cocky. It was knowing that God had my back.
Yeah.
Faith. When I started walking afterwards, before that, I was getting ready to go into surgery. And, I probably should have been asking myself, what, are we going to make it through? We're probably not going to make it through. We could have had a million different excuses there. But fortunately, God had laid his hands on me, and I was very calm.
Yeah.
I looked over at Vicki and Coco. They've both been saved. They had a calmness and that confidence that they'd see me after the surgery.
Yeah.
Now, Ramey's a medical person.
Yeah. She's got a little more analytical.
She was a lot more analytical, and
she knew what the odds were.
Yeah. And she didn't look too good when I got wheeled back. She thought that was the last time she was going to see Dad alive.
Yeah.
So I think my faith now it will not go backwards. It will only go forward.
Imagine. Yeah.
And it's so different now when I pray to God. I know I'll never be a Jesus. I'll never be a great Christian. Right. I just want to be a decent Christian. Yeah. Every day we make mistakes. Right. We think bad thoughts. We have bad thoughts about people. We get upset. We have no patience with people.
Yeah.
And people that aren't like us, the thing that I really get upset on with people and myself is, one, people talking bad about religion, and two, talking politics.
Yeah.
Neither one comes out very good.
All right.
And it seems to bring out the worst in people.
Yes, it does.
So I think it's important that we become more Christ-like, and we'll never get to that stage, but at least we should be working toward that.
Yeah. Hard to argue with.
Yeah.
That's great. So you got your new lungs. So everything's just fine right now, right? Yeah.
Well,
Job done.
We're not done, and we have to.
So how long did you have to stay in Columbus? You said you were living up
about
there.
7 weeks
7
after
weeks, okay.
after we come out of the ICU.
Okay.
And we had blood draws twice a week. We had pulmonary rehab 3 times a week. We had multiple doctor visits every week. So we were only about 10 minutes away from hospital.
Yeah.
And we spent a lot of time
Practically
going
live there, I'm sure.
back and forth, And as girls would sometimes just drop me off. They'd go check out Columbus. And, it is, and I don't. The 4th week we got to come home, or 5th week overall. We got to come home for a practice run here, living at home.
Oh, okay.
And I told the girls, I said, I want to walk up Heritage Trail. They said, there's no way.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, we're going to do it. And I didn't want to use the walker, but they insisted I did. And I hate to admit it, don't tell them I said this, but I used it, and I was glad I did.
You're glad you had it after all. Yeah. They were right again. Huh?
Yeah, but don't tell them that. Please don't tell them they're right.
Yeah.
But the 4th week, I believe it was, we were up in Columbus, and Jack Hanna, Columbus Zoo. I said, we got to go to Jack Hanna's Zoo. And they said, well, the nurse that was taking care of me, she said, Tuesday's probably going to be your best day. You don't want to go on the weekend because it's super crowded. And they said, you do realize there's about 7 or 8 miles of walking, maybe 9 miles of walking in that to see everything. I said, we're okay. We're good.
Yeah. So
we did go and walk that. I had over 17,000 steps that day. I think it was 17 to 18,000 steps. And we saw the zoo, and it was a great day. But boy, I was tired when I come back.
I bet. Wow.
So four weeks after being released from the hospital.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But a great zoo. Beautiful.
Yeah. So how many months has it been now?
Well, we're coming up on, it's almost July. So we had July and August. So month number 10 on the 30th.
So you're nearing a year.
Yeah.
Now, I know we talked a few weeks ago on the phone a little bit, and you were giving me some stats about survival rates.
Yeah.
And I know that the 1 year mark was a big one.
Yeah.
So what were some of those again?
Well, if you survive a surgery, and you make it to 80% make it to the 1 year, so you lose about 20%.
Okay.
But of people that survive a surgery.
Okay.
Not everybody survives the surgery. And what we mean by survive a surgery, it means getting home.
Okay.
Okay. Not still tied to the hospital.
Okay.
So about 80%, and then it drops to about, on the 2nd year, it drops to about 73%.
Okay.
And then the 3rd year, it drops to 67%. And the 4th year, it drops down to 58%. And then the 5th year, it's about 50%.
Okay. So you still got a bit of a battle.
Yeah. So we've got a battle. We have to make sure that we're exercising, eating good meals and balanced diet.
Yeah.
And we have to avoid people that maybe a cold could wipe me out.
Right.
COVID.
That's yeah. I mean, we've got a little bit going on in that area right now, right?
Yeah. And so I wear a mask. Sometimes I double mask. We're hoping to go on vacation, and I'll double mask on the plane.
Yeah.
And
there.
we'll try to take precautions everywhere we can.
Yeah.
So
well, I know that every time talked to you here recently or whatever. I called you the other day, and you were out riding your bike.
Yeah.
You said so. Yeah, it looks like you're getting with it. So that's fantastic.
Well, my wife's getting with it too because she's with me pretty much on all the walks except when she's at work.
Now, is she going because she wants to, or is she going because she's worried about you?
She loves to walk.
Yeah.
I mean, she did a lot of walking. She was always trying to motivate me to go walking with her.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the air to do it. She actually thought I was being lazy.
Just thought you were
and a slacker.
Yeah. You're sandbagging on her.
Yeah. And then after she found out that I had IPF, she goes, "Oh man, I feel bad." You know?
She's bad mouthing you all this time. So I did see you at the Molly Walk here in town a few weeks ago. So I know you walked that.
Yeah.
And
I was not happy with my time.
Yeah. Well, so it was a 5K, right? So
it's a 5K, 3.1, and that was 1:04 and change.
So a little over an hour.
I was wanting to stay under the hour.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, I walked the Denny Kerrigan Memorial 5K in Rising Sun, and we did it in 55 minutes and change.
Wow.
So we took a little off. The ironic thing was I got second place in my age group, so I guess
that's something.
Older than dirt, you get they give you a participation
That's all right.
ribbon, you know.
I think you've earned that one, though. Yeah. And,
but we're getting ready for the 10K.
Here in Madison.
Yeah, and that's the Madison Firecracker. That'll be on July 2nd.
So you're going to be doing twice the distance.
Yeah, and I've been trying to build up to that.
Yeah.
And we're raising money for Donate Life. It's just so crucial.
And what is Donate Life?
Donate Life is a group that goes and actually will take and get the organs and bring them to the hospital. So Donate Life is critical because after you sign your driver's license to be a donor, it doesn't stop there. You got to have somebody that loves you or that you love to be an advocate, because lots of times somebody dies in an accident, they look at the card, but that's not their primary situation. They may have other people hurt.
Right.
So if you need to be an advocate for your loved ones if that's what their wish is.
Okay.
So make sure that if you sign your card, that you talk to your wife or your spouse, children, make sure they know that is something that you want done. And Doug had talked to his family.
Okay.
So lots of times, the police and rescue people, EMTs, they're there doing their job.
Right.
They don't really,
That's not a priority.
Yeah,
right?
it's not a priority at that time.
Unfortunately, but I can understand it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so first thing you should do is try to sign your driver's license. Second thing, get an advocate for yourself.
Okay.
That you make sure that they're going to make sure your wishes are followed.
Okay.
Other ways to do this is we're going to do the T-shirts that look like it's got Donate Life logo on the front. It's in red and silver, Ohio State colors, but I'm telling my IU friends, just think of it as a fat I. Okay. So on the back of a shirt, it's got the fat I.
Yeah.
And it's got Team 5-Day Ray.
Okay.
And the shirts are going to cost about $15, and we're charging $20. We're going to donate $5 of every shirt to Donate Life.
Okay.
We're also we're taking donations. You can mail those to Ray Black Jr. at 834 West Main Street, and we'll take and send you a receipt, and we'll take and make sure that donation gets to Donate Life. We're hoping to go up and present them with a nice large check.
Okay.
After we're done, and have some of the people go up to Columbus, Ohio, with us.
Okay.
We've been in that Donate Life Center. They've got little shadow boxes that's got stories of literally hundreds of people. Some are donors, some are recipients of organs, and some are family members that wish they still had their, dad and mom, little girl. little boy. There's so many. You got heart issues, you got lung issues. It's what we've been talking about. Kidney issues, pancreas. There's so many things that take people's lives, and we just want people to start thinking about being a donor and make that a priority. Not only to sign your card, but to make sure that you have an advocate.
Yeah, that's part of it I never really thought about.
Well, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, you think you sign your card, it's done, and
Vicky and
I
just celebrated our 49th wedding anniversary yesterday, and I think we signed ours when I was 21 and she was 19 when we got married.
Yeah,
and it's something we do every time we go back to renew our license, and. The ironic thing was talking to Doug's soulmate, Carrie. She said that Doug was very depressed when he went to renew his driver's license. He said, "I don't even know if it's going to do me any good to donate." He says, "My body's not in very good shape."
Yeah.
He had a lot of hip issues. He had his hip replaced twice. He was a smoker at one time. He said, "I don't know if my lungs would even be good."
Right.
But lungs will replenish themselves if you quit smoking today. And I encourage everybody, please quit smoking if you're smoking. I know it's a habit. I know it's your right, and I'm not trying to infringe on your right, but just for your children's sake.
Few good outcomes.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. So they'll start. My dad was a 2-3 pack a day smoker. And when my aunt died of lung cancer, he threw his last pack away on that day, and he just passed away this past year at 93 years of age.
Wow!
But he hadn't smoked for probably almost 50 years.
Barely.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So again, it's crucial that we do what we can to extend people's life.
Well, fortunately, Doug overcame whatever doubts he had.
He did.
When he was doing that.
He signed it on that in March of 21, and
wow,
and I got his lungs in August of 21. Wow. So again, God connecting dots.
Right.
Exactly. Again, I can't imagine all the dots that were connected by our Heavenly Father. And of course, Sunday's Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I'll recognize my dad, but I'll recognize my Heavenly Father as well.
Right.
And I'll recognize Doug, and I'll recognize my son-in-law for my 2 grandbabies.
Yeah.
So it's important that every day we get up, it's important to tell your spouse and your children, your grandchildren, I love you. And kiss them every day that you get a chance. If you're leaving or they're leaving to go to work, give them a kiss. If they're leaving to go back home to Ohio or Kentucky or wherever, make sure you get a hug and a kiss out of them. It's so important to let everyone know, because we know not how many days we have on this earth.
Right.
So please just every day let those people that say I love you. I mean, it doesn't cost you a thing.
Right. Yeah.
If it was had a money value, then I could understand your baby being a little selfish.
Right.
But
all it takes is a little bit of time, and and sometimes swallowing your pride. Right. If there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
But now it sounds like, and I suspect I knew you a little bit before all this. It's not like you had a bad attitude before, but it sounds like you've definitely got a different outlook now.
Yeah,
that's
I've always tried to be positive, because working with kids,
but you can't be
coaching,
work at the Boys and Girls Club and coach kids. You can't be.
So I've always tried to instill in them, but I had to practice what I preach in this situation. Yeah. And I think my family, Vicky, Ramey, Derek, Coco, Toby, Ko, Gracie, and Griggs. I mean, they come together. They basically put their lives on hold to get me through this.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like you had a heck of a support staff there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really all I had. We'll include. I'll get your address on there if anybody wants to send donations. We'll put that in the show notes. Links to Donate Life and the fundraiser and where people can help out there.
Right.
I know you got a Facebook page. If you don't mind, I'll include that on there and everything. Yeah. And I don't know, Ray, is there anything else you want to?
Well, just one last thing I'll finish up with. I apologize for people on the many Facebook posts I have, because sometimes it seems ridiculous that I'm posting something, but it's been part of my recovery and part of my therapy, writing about different situations that's happened. Coco has put together a playlist on Spotify for me, and it was basically from the day I was able to get up back on Facebook and start sharing songs of a day or situations about my journey. I'm sorry if it offends people, or if it's, in some cases it's kind of a pain but other people have told me, thank you so much. I was going through a situation this past week, and your post pulled me through it and made me more positive. So that's all I'm doing, is trying to encourage people to be strong, be good and kind.
There's a lot of good. There's a lot of bad things with social media and Facebook, but used properly, it can be a benefit for sure. That's great that you got that platform. So.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, your podcast, Project 39. I've listened to several of them.
Oh, good.
And I like them. And
spread the word.
I'll take and spread the word.
Trying to get it out there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not anything we make any money with, but I just like to sit down and have these conversations with people. So
thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Ray, take care of yourself, and we'll be seeing you around, man.
Thank you.
Take care.
God bless.